In all seriousness, it could be one of my favourite Cameron films. Also quite a big repeat cast on Aliens. Lance is in here, Michael Bihn's in here, Bill Paxton playing a very short role as one of the punks. To have Aliens and Terminator 1 under your belt as a director, as much as I despise Avatar cosplay, Cameron will go down as one of the greats. But will Terminator Resistance go down as one of the greats? I played Rogue City, the Robocop game, and loved that damn thing. Beautiful fan service, beautiful graphics, a true great modern homage to that original film. The whole review is in the quality mode, or resolution mode as it's advertised as. Now this is apparently supposed to be hitting a targeted 60 frames per second. I will say I did not see any frame drops, but it doesn't feel like a pegged 60. I'm not sure what's going on here. Again, we get fluffy stipulation on console performance with video games. I'm kind of losing my mind with it. I don't want to have to watch Digital Foundry every goddamn time a console game comes out. They made enough money off that. Just get a £300 graphics card for the console, so you've got a digital reading. Yeah, everyone's got £300 at the moment, what with the 700 quid Pro around the corner. I also see no mention of ray tracing when you're looking for its inclusion on Google or even on the box. The game is enhanced, so this does sit on the SSD, but some of those real-time shadows not looking terrible. Some of the reflections are actually amazing. The game has got the same pristine quality that Robocop Rogue City had to it, and it's probably that same engine, which means we get beautiful mortar and rock and building dissipation, and some great ballistics, explosions, even shockwave-esque style distortions when something goes up or off. This game came out in 2021 for the PlayStation 5, and it does not retail at full cost both now and on launch. I picked this up for 25 British pounds. Yeah, with trade-in, it's very much worth that money. And it is very much, I will say this now, worth a look if you're slightly or even remotely into some of those cooler, older Terminator films. The newer stuff, as with every franchise that is out there at the moment, is dying on its arse because of bad writing and that other thing that we'll get into another time. If you're a writer or a creative, remember this expression: where there is great ruin, there is huge treasure. Trust me, we're about to turn a corner creatively, I think, in mainstream media, and we're going to get the 80s and 90s back. We're not good. They are never coming back, bro. I think you need to start dealing with that. What is Terminator Midnight Resistance? Well, it's an interesting one. When I initially saw a lot of the reels and the PR material, I was like, this is a straight down the middle first person shooter. Now, you're kind of not wrong with that assumption. There is a bit more detail on the RPG front and character development front, but I was a little bit taken aback at how rousy that front end of the game is. I was expecting a little bit more quest choice and hub development and even more open world freedom. But for that brief, what it does manage within those quite restrictive parameters, it's a really good game. Just finished the PlayStation 5 review of Atomic Heart, and I've also been going back through BioShock, so that statement doesn't come without its clout. It's doing a damn good thing, A, if it's a Terminator game and still scores on the nostalgia front, and B, if it can keep up with some of the modern first-person single-player shooters out on the market. It does all of that aforementioned. You might be one of those people who have played this game and are watching the review to see how badly I screw up on it. I would recommend Generations Zero. You know, this open world is based on PC and console, but it's just this scope with a far more broader horizon. It is a full-on crafting open world game with cool robots, but it hasn't got that Terminator stamp of quality. When I talk about that stamp of quality, I'm talking about how the robots are designed. You might be like me and only find solace in the mechanical aspect of the recent films, because it sure as hell isn't in the actors. And poor old Arnie's at a Biden level of elderly now, so it's no use CGIing or shoving him back into the whole thing. The sweet spot has been and gone, but we still get to enjoy a lot of this cool lore and design around the Terminators themselves, and it does quite a good job of pushing different variants, bigger ones, unseen Terminator types, so there's a massive amount of intrigue for me there. It's trying really hard with its destructive environments. It does leave gas canisters like at your feet at just about every cover point in a firefight, and it is cool seeing them whistle off and smash into the enemy. Trouble is that curled whistle movement is cookie cutter and the same with all the canisters, and I don't see enough dissipation on your cover from the lasers when you're ducking and diving, but it still is terrifying in areas. They've nailed that atmospheric cool 80s synth going on in the background and just crapping yourself that a giant iron bodybuilder's going to come around the corner. Brief disclaimer, Terminators are not made from iron. It's got so much more on the sneak than I imagined. Even the Terminators are designed around hiding and springing out on you, or even having like a detection level that you can play around with. You also have a camera that allows you to see the Terminators behind solid objects. You are crouched and crapping it a lot in this video game, but that is not a bad thing against the lore. Don't mean the lore of the land, I mean the sort of backstory with Terminator, etc. Dang, I was good at Frogger. They just messed up choosing that as a minigame for the hacking. I can do it with my eyes shut. Back to the sneak thing, they do this really cool front end with the actual T-1000s. Brief disclaimer, the T-1000 is the liquid Terminator and does not appear at any stage at the front end of Terminator Resistance. Your normal weaponry and guns just doesn't hurt them for the first 4 or 5 hours, and you have to really respect their routes when they're patrolling, get behind them, creep around stuff. It's only when you get given this like massive plasma laser thing that you can start shooting back at them. The game does up the ante then, but I did very much enjoy that fear of these giant metal skeletons wandering around looking for you. It's a good angle.
He's from the Resistance. The others have to be here too.
Another great angle or plus point for me is the absolutely fussless UI. No prompts, no stupid icon saying you haven't read this little bit of tutorial. It doesn't even push you to spend your skill points. No massive explanations behind everything. It's absolutely amazing. You just do what you want to do when you do it and then just crack on with the game. AAA developers, please take note. The hacking is also not completely redundant. After playing Bioshock 2, it's quite a welcome thing to see turrets start shooting at the enemies that were once shooting at you, and all the lasers going from red to green, the whole thing just switching out. It's a very powerful feeling, and it's a cool accomplishment for having to just crawl on your hands and knees to an objective. You all of a sudden get to come out all guns a-blazing.
Armored spider ahead!
Don't let it get near you!
More Terminators!
How many?
I count 3!
Is this competing with any other Terminator-based first-person shooter title that's been, recently, maybe on 8th gen? No, not at all. Binary Domain is the nearest thing this has got to worry about.
God damn it! They were waiting for us!
We're surrounded!
Take positions!
Just back to that AAA thing briefly. I've been playing a lot of Outlaws lately. It's in the headlines and all manner of stuff's kicking off with Ubisoft. And you'll probably know that I'm a huge fan of the Mad Max game. Some of you might know what I'm already getting at here, but a cool companion vehicle and a slight release on these maps make them a bit larger, little bit of freedom, maybe a few outposts that you've got to liberate, and the odd wandering Terminator squad, with the big T-47s in there. Mix it up. Make it a semi-open world game.
More of them up here!
Stay low! Don't stop shooting!
But on paper, this is a really awesome single-player, offline Terminator campaign-based experience with great graphics, never dropped a damn frame, kept it in quality mode the whole time, no hard crashes. Some of the facial animations, particularly on the love interest, are difficult, but this is going to be highly enjoyable for any Terminator old school fan and anyone who loves a half decent offline shooter. You've got loads of depth here with campaign length, and for the money, that's pretty damn good. Paired up with RoboCop Rogue City, you've got yourselves an amazing 80s binge action night.
Over here's our quartermaster. If you need anything beyond the standard issue equipment, work it out with him. And here's Alvin, Residing Chief Egghead.
I prefer Laboratory Director.
Like I said, Egghead.
So like having one of these to take out with a mounted gun, maybe you get an NPC on the back and upgrade them and just really travel this amazing apocalyptic landscape that they've created, and where it's pitched within the whole arc of the story, it's a beautiful sweet spot. This maybe sequeled if we have enough interest around the Resistance. It would just be so great to see that model boosted up to a true open world format. I imagine this will undoubtedly come onto one of the services. It might be Game Pass, it might be PSN Extra, but you might also see a copy of it physical, pre-owned at a really good price. I recommend snapping this up and sticking it in your collection alongside Rogue City. And there's something really cut and dry about this developer that I like. They sort of know how to do cool explosions and chaos. It's in both of the games. You've also got an amazing bullet time in RoboCop, but this makes up for it with just huge variants on the Terminator types and giving you some massive genuine sneak stages that take ages to work out stage by stage, and once you're inside a huge complex, you know, you've then got to get yourself out again. It doesn't do any of that fast travel nonsense. I will of course link Rogue City in the description and annotate. I know it sounds like I've mentioned it about 50 times. Can you name the actor that is in Aliens, Terminator 1 and Predator 2? It's not Danny Glover.
Spiders up ahead! Got it! Lead the way!
It was of course the delectable Couch Coupe, and I think we're about to see quite a major patch drop for Space Marine 2, like substantial, so I want to get that content out after that has occurred, because I know I am very late to the party to talk about that game. I will see you down there.
Rocket! Look for grenades!
Come on, Sal! Tigers are playing tonight.
I'd buy that for $1.
Something for her to remember you by after you decided to get yourself killed and leave your family all alone, Alex Murphy.
Slime bags detected.
Thank you.
Look at that.
RoboCop